in on time or early so we can have a conversation. For those of you who are new, this is the Power Breakfast that I've been hosting mainly to ensure that the community has accurate knowledge on what's going on around the community. I'm a big believer that knowledge is power, and to ensure that my constituents and people in the great city of San Antonio know what's going on, I want to be able to bring information so that we're not guessing. We can share with others, and we can make sure that whatever is happening, you have the best knowledge possible and not hearsay. So for those who are on, please mute your devices if you're not talking. As you all know, the Zoom environment is good, but it can get uncomfortable if we have a lot of background noise. So it's important to mute your device if you're not speaking. We will have time for question and answer. And for those who want to speak, you can just raise your hand. My staff see your hand raised, and we'll call upon you if you want to answer any questions. And at the end, we'll give out some announcements so we can find out what people are doing around the district. We've got some great speakers today. I know one of the areas of concern naturally is Silverline, what that really means, how the community is impacted. So our awesome community person from VIA, um, Bonnie Elder, has helped us with that, coordinate that. And also we've got TXDOT. You know, we've got a lot of construction going on, and people are not sure of, you know, how long it's going to be, what's it's going to be, how they're going to be impacted. And they're going to talk to us today about how that all occurs. And as always, we're going to start with an opening prayer, understanding that the man above truly established our destiny, and we want to always pay homage to that. So, Elder Brian, if you can give us our opening prayer.
Let us pray. God of grace, God of mercy, grant us wisdom for the doing of the business of this day and this time in our history. We pray for Representative Hawkins. We pray for the state of Texas. We pray for San Antonio. God, we pray that as changes have been made legislatively, that we are also able to do what is necessary to preserve life and to help all of us be the best that we can be as we continue this journey. Now, be with us now as we reason together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Elder Brian. Appreciate that. And so I'd like for our speaker from TxDOT to come on and share with us what's going on. Introduce yourself and talk to us about what's happening in this big old transportation apparatus so folks can understand not only what's going on, but the time associated with it. You've got the floor.
Good morning. Thank you, Representative Gervin-Hawkins. My name is Jennifer Serold. I am the Public Information Officer here at TxDOT San Antonio. Can someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Sometimes my mic likes to play games with me. Thank you, Representative. As I get my presentation up on the screen, again, like you said, I'm going to give you a little overview of what we have going on here at TxDOT. One second. Miss Alicia, could you disable or enable me to share my screen, please?
I did. You should be good to go.
Okay, let me try one more time.
Derek Varner, would you mute your device, please? Derek Varner, mute your device. Thank you.
Okay, are we seeing the presentation?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Again, I'm one of the public information officers here at TxDOT in San Antonio, and it's my pleasure to be here with you this morning. We're going to give you a brief update on some of the major projects happening in House District 120. And then I'm going to give you a little preview of a really big project we have planned to start later this year. And so at TxDOT, safety is our top priority. And we always like to start our meetings and presentations with a safety minute. So I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you A reminder to drive safe when you're out on the roads. And what that means is we like to drive like a Texan. Here in Texas, we pride ourselves on being kind and friendly and courteous. So let's go ahead and share that when we're out on the road. And let's see if this video will cooperate with me. We have a new video series out, and you'll see it on TV. You might hear it on the radio or on social media. So I'd like to share that with you.
No matter where we start, every mile brings us closer. And as Texans, we take care of each other along the way. We lend a hand, slow down, and take our time. At the end of the day, we all want to get home safe. Drive like a Texan, kind, courteous, and safe.
Okay, great. That was a short little video to give you an idea of what you might be seeing out there as far as messaging when we remind you to drive safe on our roadways. So a brief overview of the San Antonio district at TXDOT before I get into the project updates. So the San Antonio district is comprised of Bexar County and the surrounding 11 counties in this south central region of Texas. We are the second most active district in the state. And what that means is that we have the most amount of work and projects going on next to Houston. And so I think that is indicative of just the growth we've seen over the past several years. And what that looks like, it's over 200 projects and about 5.6 billion with a B active contracts underway. And I know that sounds like a lot. And, you know, the running joke whenever we go out is, you know, the whole city's under construction. And I'll just be honest, yes, it is. But that is relative to the growth we're seeing. You know, San Antonio and the region is one of the fastest growing regions in the nation. And so these projects are designed and planned and executed to accommodate the growth we're seeing now and in the next 20 years. And to give you an idea of what that number looks like, 5.6 billion, just 10 years ago, so in 2015, our project portfolio for the San Antonio district was 500 million with an M. So we've seen a lot of growth. We've got a lot of new funding from the state legislature. Thank you to the representative. And so we are building to accommodate the growth that we are seeing. And I know everything always feels like it's under construction. Nothing ever feels like it gets done, but we do. Last fiscal year, we completed and delivered over $230 million of projects and investments for the San Antonio district. So with that brief overview, I'll go ahead and get into some of the projects you see in District 120. The major one that everyone travels on and sees every day is the I-35 Northeast expansion. And this is our biggest project in the district at about $3.5 billion. It is broken up into several segments, but for the most part, it spans from Walter Street, so near the Frost Bank Center, all the way up to FM 1103. And so this is a project designed to not only reduce congestion and increase mobility, but also to enhance safety on one of the most traveled and one of the most congested corridors, not only in San Antonio, but in the whole state of Texas. And so with this project, we are expanding the highway. We're adding elevated lanes, so we're not building out, we're building up. And this will include more regular general purpose lanes, and also it'll include HOV lanes, again, to offer a mobility option for you as you travel across the region. We're also building flyover ramps at the 1604 interchange in 35 near the Forum Shopping Center. And so this project has been underway for a few years. It started in 2021. And right now we are planned to go all the way through 2032. But again, this is broken up into several segments. To give you an idea of how many people travel on 35 every day, it's almost 175,000. And that it just grows every day and every year. And in the next 20 to 25 years, that is expected to double to almost 400,000. And so if you imagine the time you spend on 35 now, just imagine that in 20 years when the congestion doubles. But that's why we have this investment in this project. And with this project, the designers estimate that future travel times could be reduced by up to 30 minutes as you travel across eastern San Antonio and all up northeast San Antonio. A quick video of some recent progress from this spring. If you travel, you see these lanes being built, the columns going up, the decks going on top of the columns. A lot of progress has been made. I believe we are over 50%, have over 50% of the columns installed across the corridor. And so the majority of the work you'll see for the rest of the year is the remaining columns going up, those concrete deckings being placed on top of the columns. And then in some areas, you'll see those big steel beams being installed. And so that's the majority of the work going on through the end of the year and through next year. And as far as a high-level timeline for the entire corridor, across all the segments, this is a nice little slide that we like to use. The central segment, which is from Loop 410 all the way up to FM 3009, that's the biggest segment. It's on track to be complete by the end of 2027, and we're over 50% complete. I think right now we're more than 55%, probably 56 or 57. The South Phase 1, which is that darker blue area, it's the area in between where the two 410s are. So I like to say near the Windcrest, Eisenhower, Walsham area. We're making great progress, on track to be done in 2028 and almost 40% complete. The third phase that's currently under construction is the little purple phase on the map. We just got started a few months ago, so we're making small but consistent progress, and we're right over 1%. The remaining two phases, South Phase 3, which is from Walters to Fort 10, and then the northern phase from FM 3009 to FM 1103 have not begun construction. I believe that South Phase 3 will begin construction later this year, if not early next year. So a lot of progress to be made on 35 and more to come as the years progress. Another big project that we have had underway to reduce congestion is the Loop 410 and I-10 East interchange. So this has been underway for a few years. If you live in the area, you know, I do, so I see it every day. It's a $100 million investment, again, to reduce congestion on this east corridor that has a lot of freight traffic going in and out of San Antonio. We are on track to finish by the end of this year. The plan includes to build 2 flyover ramps. We've already opened one, which opened a few years ago. And I'm happy to share with you that the second and final flyover for this phase will open in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Right now, we're looking at early to mid-August. So that'll be exciting and something to look forward to. And since we've been under construction for a few years, we are going towards the end. We're over 90% complete, and we should be all out and done by the end of the year. Another project that kind of borders your district is the FM 1516 expansion. It is a pretty big project for the area. It's from I-10 all the way past Judson High School to FM 78. And what we're doing is we're expanding this 2-lane roadway to 4 lanes. As you know, a lot of people have moved out to the Converse area out in East Bexar County. And so we were able to get funding to expand this road and improve mobility and safety for the people who travel over on the east side. It just got started last year, and it'll continue through 2028. About $68 million of improvements to expand that road. We're also adding sidewalks, turn lanes, and some bike lanes to the area. So we already got started last year, but they're already at 35% complete. They've mainly been focusing on utility work, and in the coming months, you'll see them to start expanding the road now that utility work is coming to an end. A few more projects I wanted to share with you are some smaller projects, but just as important. There are 2 of our safety improvement projects over here in District 120. US 87, or what you like to refer to as Rigsby Avenue. We have some safety improvements underway from Hammond Avenue near that Roland and Rigsby intersection all the way to Foster Meadows going out past 410. So what we're doing is we're repairing sidewalks, improving drainage, and making some repairs to some of the bridges in the area. We just got started a few months ago, and we look to finish this project up next summer in 2026. It's about almost $5 million of improvements, and they're already 30% complete. The second safety improvement project I wanted to share are some improvements coming to the I-10 frontage roads, all the way from I-37 to Loop 410 over here right past W.W. White. Crews will be making pavement repairs and replacing some of the markings and stripings along the frontage roads. We just got started with this one also just a month ago, about $8 million of improvements, and they're already 28% complete. And like I said, I did want to share one major project that we have coming up later this year. It's not in your district, but it is a pretty important project that will affect the entire region. We do plan to get the expansion of US 90 underway. This is going to be a multi-phase project, 9 miles in total, all the way from Loop 410 on the west side of San Antonio going out to State Highway 211 at the edge of Barrett County. It's a $500 million investment. We're looking again to reduce congestion on Highway 90, which is one of the most congested corridors in our region. If you ever travel out to the west side, you know how backed up it gets at rush hour and on your way to work in the morning. We are expanding from 4 lanes all the way to 6 lanes into a proper highway. And we're also going to add another flyover ramp at Loop 1604 and US 90. Phase 1, which we plan to get underway in the next few months by the end of the year, will go from Loop 410 to Loop 1604 and is planned to be complete by 2029. The second phase, which extends out to the far west Bexar County, will be 1604 to State Highway 211. I think they're still identifying some funding for that, so we expect that to possibly get underway in 2028 and go through 2032. Again, this is another mega project that we've been able to identify funding for, again, to reduce congestion. 66,000 people travel on US 90 every day, and again, that will just double the same story that we're seeing across our area. And with these improvements and with this new project, future travel times will be reduced drastically by up to 90%. And so that is all my project updates, but I always like to end the presentation and just remind everyone that these projects can be challenging and can be frustrating to travel through or see because they do take time, but they are investments to our transportation system, and they do end up saving drivers time and money. And Texas A&M has done a study recently on US 281. We expanded that a few years ago in partnership with VIA, with Tom on the line. And that at one time, this is what it used to look like. It used to be the 8th most congested corridor in the state at one point. After we finished our project and opened the improvements for drivers, this is what you typically see on a normal day. Even at 5 p.m. rush hour, I've been over there and it looks pretty much like this. Open highways, people flowing at the normal speed of traffic. And with these improvements, 281 has dropped all the way down past 2,000 on the most congested corridor list. So we know these projects are investments and they do make progress for the community and they do provide benefits. Actually, on 281, drivers are seeing a $350 cost savings every year because of this project. And so with that, I thank you for your time, and I will open it up to questions if the representative feels we have the time to do so.
We do, Jennifer. I want to thank you for that, and I want to just kind of summarize that we're looking at years for the overall projects to be completed. So just so that the folks on this call understand that we're talking projects to go out as far as 2032. The other thing I wanted to highlight was I think we can all agree no pain, no gain, right? And that we want to make sure we get a traffic flow. But one of the things, Jennifer, I think is important is if any of the constituents have any challenges, because I've seen some areas where lack of lighting, particularly at night on a construction site, and I've seen some areas where where construction is going on, the barriers are not clear. And what I want to make sure is that we're not causing any casualties. So if we see an area, if any of folks on this call see an area where the barriers are not clear, you don't know if to go left or right, and particularly in the dark, right? And or lighting, who should we call to be able to say, we believe this is a hazard and we need a little bit more attention to it?
Yes, that's a great question. And I just dropped my contact information in the chat. You can call me directly and I can get it directly to the project engineer and the project manager to investigate and provide some resolution to your concerns. But yes, if you see something, please call us and say something. You're our eyes on the road. We have inspectors driving these projects every day, but of course, the more eyes, the better, right? So we welcome your concerns. We welcome your observations. And any questions you may have, we're here to help. We're here to serve you as your fellow Texans.
Appreciate that. So folks on this call, remember, if you're seeing those areas, we've got to be able to tell TXDOT, because I've seen a couple situations that I may have driven off the road myself because I wasn't clear. It wasn't a clear delineation of, do you go left, do you go right? Is this barrier open? And so there's some current concerns. With that, if anybody have any questions, please raise your hand and we can recognize you, or any area you want to share with Jennifer that you have seen problematic that we need to work on. Elder Brian?
It is exciting to see all the work being done and the improvements made, but I also have a question about bridges, because we keep going up and a lot of people are afraid of bridges. And then when they see the bridge collapse in South Carolina on Interstate 20, it further justifies their fears. Do we have material or anything that you can share with us that we can share with people to comfort them about the safety of bridges and to help them deal with the new reality of the bridges being even higher? Because that's a great fear of a lot of people.
Yes, definitely. I hear that concern a lot. The fear of heights, especially with us building up instead of across. Our bridges do get inspected every year. They're on a cycle. So I would be happy to get the latest bridge inspection report and share it with Miss Alicia, and she can distribute it to this group. But yes, the bridges are inspected. The reports are published. So I'm happy to get you that information for you to share with your friends and family and your constituents. You know, we have bridge inspectors not only in San Antonio, but also from Austin that come down and inspect not only the new bridges we're building, but also the bridges that are underway, or that we already have, excuse me. And we do repair them. I know if you travel through downtown on I-35 on the west side near UTSA, you see a lot of work going on over there, right? Some lanes closed. We're actually repairing those bridges right now because those are about 30 years old. So they're due for some maintenance on the joints. So bridges are inspected and they are repaired as needed, but I'm happy to get you those inspection reports, sir.
Thank you for that. Any other question for Jennifer with TXDOT? I don't see any other hands up. So Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. It was good information. And I think the message that we have to take away is it's a multi-year deal, several billions of dollars, but at the end of the day, the goal is to open up the road so that we don't start looking like 610 in Houston and we can move traffic.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Representative Gervin-Hawkins, for your time, and we're happy to come anytime you need, okay? Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, I know Jacob Parks, my little young politician on there, we will be talking about redistricting. I just wanted to bring that up to you, and we're going to dig a little deep in that. Our next information person is from VIA the Silverline. You know, the Silverline, I'm still not totally understanding it and the value of it. But again, our community person, Bonnie Elder, brought it to us, and we want to understand it better because we want to understand the beginning and the end and how that's going to help move traffic. So the folks from VIA, you've got the floor.
Thank you so much. I'm Tom Marks from VIA. Bonnie, do you want to say anything?
No, only that this project has been long in coming. It's federally funded, and Tom is going to share that with you. But our very capable Tom Marks, who hails to VIA from the county of Bexar, is here to give us an overview and answer any questions that you all may have about the Silverline. And we are, as TXDOT stated, VIA as well will be willing to come back and speak with you as this project progresses. So, Tom, it's all you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And as my favorite rep in the Bexar County delegation, Representative Gervin-Hawkins, thank you for letting us be here. You used to be desk mates with one of my best friends, Ina Minhades. So, thank you for letting us come and present. We want to run through, we're going to do, an update in the next couple of slides on, what the Silverline looks like. What are the amenities that are above and beyond just transit? We can't do these projects of this magnitude without doing a, an update to a lot of the infrastructure that surrounds it. So these aren't just transportation or transit projects. These are holistic transportation projects. So it's benefiting every vehicle, including bikes and pedestrians. So if we can jump to the next slide. So this is kind of an overview of where it sits right now. Obviously it's split on the west side because of Commerce and Buena Vista, but it starts over at General McMullen. That's really the area that we have those center running lanes. That's the pink. The side running lanes then run throughout. So we'll have the stations on the side of the street as opposed to in the middle of the road. So those are some dedicated lanes, and then the mixed traffic is, it'll look a little bit similar to what we have today, but with all of the upgrades to the entire corridor, that's how we meet those frequency goals. So you'll notice, especially like on Houston Street, that's that mixed traffic situation. That's to help protect the character of the neighborhood, the historic nature of that area. But we're still building a lot of upgrades. But right now we're looking at 26 different stations, 10-minute weekday frequency. That General McMullen to the Frost Bank Center is 7.3 miles. But they'll continue service on the west side all the way up to almost 410 and 90 with our Kellac station. And then we're about to award a contract to build the East Side Transit Center, which is a climate-controlled transit center out near Sam Houston. So it'll actually extend, every bus will extend beyond the Frost Bank Center about 2 miles, further east to that East Side Transit Center. And then, of course, we have that mixture, like I talked about, of the business, the center running, and mixed traffic lanes. And currently, total cost is about $322 million. If we jump to the next slide, you'll see part of that $322 million is not just to put buses on the streets. So we're going to do improvements to 30 different intersections, and that's going to be those upgraded intersection improvements with 29 different upgraded light signals. And those are going to be those light signals that talk to each other. So if we have a group of cars and a bus in a specific area and they're moving through the corridor, they're going to be letting light signals further ahead know, hey, we've got a large number of vehicles. Let's give them some more green time on the corridor to move these cars through, much more quickly. And with that, it's, in order to meet the frequency goals, we can't have a situation. I'm sure everybody on this call has been caught one time after a heavy storm with a red blinking light signal as opposed to, the normal operating red, yellow, and green. Well, that slows everything down. So as part of that light signal upgrade, It's also weather protection that'll withstand Category 4 hurricane winds and rain in order to protect that light signal so we don't get those flashing red lights. And then we're also adding, we're replacing 75 different storm drains. So we're going to be helping with drainage issues all along the corridor. And then adding or repairing 8.5 miles of sidewalk all along the corridor. So again, these are, like I talked about, this is not just adding bus stops and adding buses. This is an entire sort of corridor upgrade. Can we move to the next line? So we started in late 2023 going out and meeting with different neighborhoods, government entities, nonprofit groups. This is sort of a smattering. Obviously, some of these, some of these little dots represent multiple entities. We've been to roughly over 50 neighborhood associations, some of them multiple times. Again, we're working with Sage and Prosper West. We're taking individual meetings when asked. We're currently this week going to be finishing door knocking along the corridor, a half mile on each side of the corridor, roughly in between 5,000 and 6,000 homes. So we're just going, making sure everybody knows what's being proposed, what timeline is, and what we're looking at doing. If we jump to the next slide, this is where we talk about the three different ways that we're still doing some of the event-based public engagement. We just hosted a series of community conversations in June and July. And like I said, we've been to over 50 neighborhood associations. We've done some open houses, different teletown halls in specific areas. And if anybody goes to keepsamoving.com, we still have an open portal for thoughts, questions, and concerns. And then again, we're still doing those one-on-one conversations. We have a team of folks. Part of my team is we're going to go business by business all along that corridor, have drop-in calls, and then, like I said, we're working on that grassroots outreach. And then we're continuing to meet with both city and county government, not to exclude the state or federal, but these are just regular meetings that we have with the elected folks from the city and county all along the corridor. Our Vice Chair Leo Gomez and I spent an entire afternoon just about 2 weeks ago meeting with all the county commissioners. We do have to follow up with Rebecca Clay Flores, but she's very, very quickly coming up. But we met with Justin Rodriguez, Grant Moody, and Tommy Calvert very, very recently. Can we move to the next slide? And then now I finally have we do have some folks working in the West Side office, but our official move-in day for the East Side office at Velocity, Texas is August 4th. We chose that because you have different neighborhood associations like Dignity and Denver Heights and those that already have their neighborhood association meetings at Velocity. So we're looking at being able to piggyback, but that's not to say that we don't travel as well too. So we do. That's going to be our location, but there's going to be a lot of outbound conversations happening as well too. So anybody along the east side that wants us to come out and talk to them and make a presentation, we're happy to do so. But we wanted to have an anchor on both sides of the corridor. Can we jump to the next slide? So this is just a follow up on starting on June 24th. We did end up hosting 4 because of the quick scheduling of some of the Project Marvel meetings that the city was doing. But we had the best turnout in person that we've ever had. We had over 250 people show up to these different 4 events. But like I said, there's still a virtual option. If anybody couldn't make any of those, you can go to keepsamoving.com and see that. And there's an input portal there as well too. But we did outreach by, sending, this information to elected officials' offices. We did bilingual advertising, digital display ads, organic and paid social media. We did some radio announcements, and then, we're continuing to push folks to go and watch the content that we have online, and still please give us any input that they have. We've been asking folks as we go and do that grassroots outreach. I think if we jump to the next slide, I just want to give y'all, because we're committed to come back anytime, state, representative, but I just want to give you what you're going to see in the next 90 days. If we can jump to that last slide. So like, Bonnie said, we do have all of our local funding. Thank you, Commissioners Court, specifically Judge Sakai, was very helpful with that. And so we're completing all of our technical reports, and then our National Environmental Protection Act, we're seeking that approval in October of 2025. So even with the change in administration, we're still doing the full environmental assessment that was required under the previous administration, not under the current administration. And that's just because we had already started it, and so we want to make sure that we complete to the full extent that environmental assessment. Also in the next 90 days, we're going to be completing up to 40% of the design, which is going to help give us that 40% cost estimate. And that should be, towards the end of next month. And then we're going to be completing all that supplemental, engineering and field work. So you're going to see some folks, from our engineering team out there. But all that's leading into, we're going to be putting out an RFP, a request for proposals, for the final design to take us from that 40% design all the way up to 95% design. And so we're anticipating to award that in December of this year. And then we're also going to be putting out the construction manager at risk, or CMAR, the pre-construction RFP. And also any right-of-way acquisition. On Green Line, we didn't have to acquire any whole pieces of property. It was simply slivers where some of the larger stations are going to be. Part of that right-of-way acquisition service is going to help us identify those, and where there may also be temporary easements where we just need little pieces of property during construction, but then it'll automatically go back to the property owner after construction is finished. And then, of course, like I said, we're just continuing engagement throughout. We're committing to our board. We're gonna do that grassroots door knocking twice a year for the next 4 years through construction. People, I think, are going to get tired of seeing us, but it's a lesson learned from Green Line. We got a lot of great feedback, and we were able to deliver a lot of great information. And so we want to continue that. We do have a bilingual team that goes out. We had a couple of issues with dogs on the west side, but the east side was much more inviting. So we appreciate the east side for that. And then, of course, we're going to be opening that. So we'll officially be moving in on August 4th for the East Side office, but we will have a community event, later in August, early September. And so those, hopefully there's not a second special session rep, so we can get that event on your calendar. But it should be well after this current one. So I think the next slide was just a question one. So I'm open to any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you, Tom, for that. And guess what? There probably will be a second session, a third session, possibly a fourth session. No, okay. It's a lot of items.
Our thoughts and prayers will go with you. It's
going to be a challenging special session season. But thank you for your presentation. There's a couple questions that I have, and then we'll open it up for others. Is there any contracting opportunities for folks in the community at all?
Absolutely. I mean, we still look for local contractors, and there still are, even though we changed the name of our DBE office, we still have a DBE office and we still set DBE goals. So, I'd be more than happy to bring, in the very near future, if you'd like, Maurice Bridges from as part of our DBE office, on here. We could be more than happy to help talk through that. I mean, I know we're constantly in contact with James from Sage. If he has any input, uh, if you have any advice on how we can even spread that even broader, we'd love to hear that.
Can I comment on that?
Not necessarily.
I think everybody on the call is very well aware of the administrative changes that are going on in DC. But our small business program has always existed. Our small business program will make every effort to continue that through the storms as they come. And most of our minority businesses in this community are small businesses. And so, the names may change, but the outcomes don't have to.
Understood. I think the key to it is knowing where to go and learning the process. And I think that's, one of the things that's important is the opportunities are there, but if one don't understand the process to get engaged, it's hard to make those connections. So knowing where to go and knowing what the process is will be helpful to us. Okay?
I mean, I'll put my email address in the chat. If anybody wants to make a connection, I'd happily pass their information along. I'm sure there are people who are looking at putting teams together already. So, the quicker the better, to get on with some of those teams.
Awesome. So Ariel, make sure you get Tom's email so that we can be a conduit and help people connect with those opportunities. My other question is related to when I think of East Houston Street, I'm looking at houses on both sides. And how are these bigger buses or transportation modes going to impact those residents on East Houston Street headed towards the Frost Bank Center?
So, exactly. Just like I said, the buses may be longer, but they're not wider. So they're still gonna, they can fit in those lanes. You may have seen a design for a center running lane or a center running station from Green Line. The side running stations are scaled down to fit in within the area. So if we have a lot of space, we can stretch the station out, but we can also condense it. But we can still provide all the amenities of the pay off board, and as well, using the area that's there for the ADA compliance and the ramp up in order to have the station flush with the door, so that the buses don't have to take the time to kneel down for someone with a walker or in a wheelchair. So there's multiple designs for the stations, and Representative, I'm happy to come back with some of those designs that we're looking at for the east side, specifically to fit within that geographic area.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any questions? Raise your hand and my staff will recognize you. Ariel, make sure we're looking at the screen and anybody who's got a hand raised so we can answer any questions they may have.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Tyvee had a question.
You've got the floor.
Good morning, everybody. I actually dropped my questions in the chat. There were 3.
All right. Tell us what they are.
All right, first question. What is the difference between, I keep hearing colors assigned to the different lines. So just a quick reference for my head. What's the difference between the colors assigned to the project names and how many colors are there now or projected in the future?
Right now, there's 2 colors. The first one that we started on, we're actually going into construction this month, is the Green Line. Green means go. It's the first project of its kind in San Antonio. So we just figured, Green Line, because we're moving forward with, a first of its kind project in San Antonio. The second is the Silverline. It's the one that we're talking about right now. That's the east-west one that goes from General McMullen to the Frost Bank Center. In working with the county, obviously the Frost Bank Center currently is the home of the Spurs, at least through 2031, and so that's where they play. So we named it the Silverline, and so that's that east-west line.
Okay.
If there's, there could be more colors in the future if we can cobble together the federal and local funding. But right now we're looking at, the Green Line and the Silver Line are sort of a backbone for the new VIA system that's going to be, in 6 years, our system won't look the way it does today. It'll be more effective.
Thank you. I'm also curious as to the businesses that are benefiting that are directly on the routes. And so it may be too many to name. If there's a design, I'd be interested in seeing it. But could you tell us just some of what are the major businesses or tourist attractions that are on these assigned streets?
Sure. So tourism is actually a secondary concern for us. The major push for the development of both of the lines is actually those that ride every day. And so while we're doing the ART lines, we're also reconfiguring all of our other routes and how they connect. Like I said, these are a backbone structure for the new VIA system. So we're actually redoing all of our routes to increase the amount of time that they serve the public every single day. And as well the frequency. And so frequency is, if you walk up to a station, you just missed the bus. How much time is it until another bus comes by? And so we're, right now 70% of our routes are above 30-minute frequency. And in the next 6 years, every single route will be 30 minutes or below. And so that's going to cut travel time. And then we're also cutting transfers. So these are a major component of that as well. We're happy if our system is used by tourists, but it's our first and foremost major concern is those who are going from home to work. Over, roughly 55% of our daily riders are people going to work, and then a big chunk of them are also people going to school. So these were actually chosen because they're high capacity corridors. They have good ridership, but we know that we can build upon that. And so again, the Frost Bank Center, major employer. You have Coca-Cola right across the street. That's where Houston Street moves into some from some of the residential, as the representative was talking about, into some of the different, more industrial out near the Frost Bank Center. Obviously, downtown is the #1 economic center for Bexar County. And then as you move towards the west side, there's many number of mom and pop businesses all along there as well. So those are a lot of the businesses, but that's why we're also working with Sage and Prosper West. Because the impact that those businesses will get just from people being able to move around faster with less transfers will be a benefit to them.
Thank you.
Tom,
Last question.
Can I
I'm sorry.
go? Tom,
Yes.
can we send the map and the alignment to the local office so they can send it out or make it available to folks on the call and folks in the community? And HEB and there are medical practices along the way that are on or near the route as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have the presentation, so we can they're free to share it.
Thank you.
Oh,
We'll
that's
make
fantastic.
sure we get it shared.
Awesome. Just one last question. Is it true the first year in service is going to be free to all users?
Absolutely. And that's a thank you again to County Judge Peter Sakai. As part of helping us meet our local funding, he gave us a little extra so that we. So again, it's not. The current administration talks a lot about, and I'm going to use air quotes, paying their fair share. But the judge is very committed to. These lines getting used, and so he did provide us some extra dollars in order for free fare on these routes, for the first year, in order to help us build some of that ridership. So we're looking at how that'll work, because we don't want, if someone gets on a connecting route and then transfers to the ART line to go their last way to work, well, they may have already paid. So we're looking at what those options will look like. But yeah, we do want to give kudos to Judge Sakai. That was actually one of his demands for us to be able to receive those funds. So I'm gonna say his name one more time. Thanks to Judge Peter Sakai, that is gonna happen. So
So first year free ride, okay, and
That's
first
right.
year will be what, 2026?
I know for the Silverline, we're looking at opening most likely in late 2029.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
the first line, the green line, will be opening in late 2027, early 2028, and then this line most likely late 2029.
Sounds good. Thank you for that, Tom. Cindy, you have a question?
Yes, will there be any park and rides along either the Green Line or the Silver Line?
So we do already use the Frost Bank Center for different events. But we're looking at, a lot of times that's referred to as destination transit. And that's where someone may take a vehicle for a short drive, and then park it at a beginning of an ART line in order to take the rest of the way. I liken it to, if you live in Connecticut but work in Manhattan, a lot of people are familiar with driving a short distance and then taking some sort of public transit. We're looking at those opportunities. But right now, the Frost Bank Center is a great opportunity. And then we also, at certain points, especially like for the Cesar Chavez March, we use Our Lady of the Lake for that Saturday, for park and ride as well too. So we are working with the city to identify other, instead of us having to pave and develop a park and ride location, what are lots that they have that we could also use. Over the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of growth in our park and ride service as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elder Brian, you had a question?
So will any of the park and ride locations start to have charging stations, or what do you do? What is happening with that?
That's a great question. I think we're open to it. All of our buses right now are compressed natural gas. That's the it's much cheaper. We buy a quarter of all of CPS's natural gas goes to supplying our service. So I'm happy to write that down and ask our team. I think it's there's potential grant opportunities that we could look at in order to provide charging stations.
Right.
I
And
don't know that we right now have that.
Elder, I just wanted to let you know that the state has allocated about 268 million to put charging stations around the state of Texas. So I
Yeah,
think some grant opportunities for companies to apply and get some of those charging stations.
That
Okay.
sounds
yeah.
like an invitation
San
for
Antonio.
collaboration. I'm sorry, Elder Burn.
I want to say that I'm not looking for Tesla charging stations. We need Electrify America and some other charging stations where we can charge other kinds of cars and not Teslas. I'm not saying don't have Tesla stations. I'm saying I don't need that, but we do need the others. We need Electrify America and some other places because they're not here. We need them.
Right. Well, there. We know that there are other brands of cars that will be electric. So no, recognize it's not a Tesla hookup. It's going to
Yeah,
be stations
yeah.
for you to have those type of vehicles. So,
I,
but that. Go ahead, Bonnie.
I will repeat what I was trying to say, but I didn't want to interrupt that. If state grants are available, that sounded like an invitation for a collaboration between the offices, if that's what I was hearing, Representative.
Correct. You are. We'll keep you posted. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Anna Alicia put in the chat that ACOG also. In fact, thank you for that. As a reminder, we're meeting with them today, so about their grant program. So.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. A lot of information. Good stuff. So we're going to, any other final question for Tom? Because we're going to get into the political stuff right about now. All right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Via. Thank you, Bonnie, for making it happen for us.
And
So
we're happy to come back in another quarter. So
sounds good. Okay. So there's two hot topics out there related to politics, y'all. It is 8:56. We're going to go to 9:15 today for those that can stay, because at the state level, there is a lot going on. Okay. And before I do that, is Judge Huff still on? Because I know there's some local stuff that is going on too, politically, if y'all don't know about it. Judge Huff, you want to share with us something that's happening local around elections?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, everybody. I got about 2 minutes before I have to jump onto my 9 o'clock docket. But thank you, guys. Thank you, Representative Gervin-Hawkins, for giving me just these few short seconds to say a few words. Yeah. So we're all gearing up, guys, the elected officials and the candidates for next year's primary. I actually have a Democratic primary opponent, so we're already out there on that campaign path. I call it my campaign grind. And I thank you all for the support. You guys know what we're facing out here. You know what is on the stake, what is at stake this time. So I'm asking anyone that would love to do just a coffee. It doesn't have to be a financial thing. If you live anywhere across town, because my race is countywide, just do a meet and greet, a coffee break with your neighbors, and I can come and speak. I love doing things like that. Anyone that knows me in the community knows that I'm constantly out. Actually, Bernadette and Pat Casey have helped me organize, and we're calling it the Church Train. And we actually got about 22 churches that we're going to be visiting from. We started in July all the way to December. The next church coming up is Calvary. Bethel is after that. I'm sure everybody on this Zoom, your church we're going to be at your church, and the support I'm getting from the church community is just epic. I really appreciate that, and I like it that you guys are spreading the word also. Again, Representative Hawkins, good luck out there. I'm following you guys. I'm following you and Josie, and over here praying that things go well, that things go so well for just for the community, for what's going on in Kerrville. Thank you, Representative Hawkins, for letting me speak a few moments.
Thank you, Judge Huff. So let's talk about what's happening in Austin. So this special session, the governor has put about 15 items on the call. So just as a one-on-one and special sessions, naturally during regular session, it's 140 days. And that's normally about January 12th to the end of May. A special session is called if the governor, who can be the only one who calls a special, feels that all the things he wanted to accomplish has not been accomplished. So he called a special session, which was effective yesterday, Monday. So we had to report yesterday in Austin. Now, the items that he's looking to cover in the special session is the flood. There's about 4 related items. So we're able to put forth additional bills to deal with that, and I've put forth 5. He's talking about the hemp issue. The lieutenant governor wants to ban hemp CBD, and THC and whatever, totally. But the governor heard the cries of the military folks and the business folks to say, rather than banning it, let's look at putting some restrictions. There is a concern about the accessibility, easy accessibility to our school-age children. And I know this firsthand. School-age children are taking all kind of vapes to school. And you're looking at kids and you're trying to teach them, and their eyes are all glazed over, and this has been a nightmare. So, I think they're onto something. Another issue, naturally, is the abortion issue. LGBTQ, the bathroom issue has come again. And redistricting, which is being mean and ugly, and I'm gonna focus on that. Property tax relief, the STAR testing, they're talking about eliminating the STAR test from our schools. But I know based on the federal level, you have to have some level of accountability. But with the dismantling of the Department of Ed, maybe there won't be any accountability. I don't know. So that's a big question. And he also wants to deal with our judicial issues and the bail reform. So we've got some hot issues that I don't believe for a second we will be able to resolve in this first special session, because a special session can only go 30 days. We must end it in 30 days. And so those are a lot of hot button issues that I don't think we can resolve in 30 days. That's on that. I want to focus on the redistricting. Those of you who are in tune with what's happening at the national level have heard about the redistricting issue. So President Trump has reached his arm all the way into the state of Texas and said he wants to pick up 5 congressional seats, 5 congressional seats out of Texas. He's been working with our leadership here, i.e. Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor, and our members. Literally, the Republican members at the House have all received personal letters from the president praising him for his support on them. And they are all like little kids who have just gotten a new toy on Christmas because Trump gave them a letter saying, I love y'all, thank y'all, support this, we're gonna have the big, beautiful, whatever, right? So he's going after Greg Cesar seat, Cuellar seat, Mark Vesey seat, the historical Sylvester Turner, Sheila Jackson Lee seat, and a seat out of Dallas, Julie Johnson. So we're talking about Dallas, we're talking about Houston, and we're talking about the Valley, and we're talking about Austin. And there's a belief he could pick up those 5 seats to strengthen his stronghold in the House of Representatives. So we've got our boxing gloves on, we've got our combat boots on, our vests, and we're all carrying our AK-15s to try to fight this, okay? But we can't do this alone. We need the people. So I want to share with y'all the strategy, general idea of the strategy. Naturally, I can't tell you the 1, 2, and the exacts, but I'm gonna give you a big view. It's gonna be hard to stop
Representative, you froze.
Somebody's trying to say something?
You froze, Ms.
You
Representative.
had frozen, but you're good now.
Okay, I'm good. Okay. So what I have put forth is a recommendation of our fight that we've got to embark on. There needs to be a ground game, and that's where the people come in, and we're going to need your help. There's got to be a floor strategy, whereas we're calling points of orders, we're asking critical questions, and we're engaged using the rule book to our advantage. There may be a legal strategy, but how much can we rely on the courts if they're controlled in a negative way? And then there's been a lot of talk about a quorum break. It's hard to move 62 people and say be gone away from your home 30, 60, or 100 days. That's very difficult. So there's those things that we can do, but we're talking about it every day. We're engaged with our national partners to see what they can do to help us down here. But we don't need to DC Texas, okay? We just don't need to DC Texas. And to be able to gerrymandering these districts when we're so close to election already would be a travesty. So we're working on strategies every day. We're meeting quite a bit, and we're looking at what are those things that we need to do to try to prevent this redistricting effort that's going across the country. They're starting with Texas. Is our understanding if they're able to get this bill passed in Texas, they will go to Ohio next, and will continue to go to different states to be able to truly gerrymander our maps and create an environment of taking away representation from people. So it's going to be ugly. Yesterday, everybody was hugging and patting each other on the back and kissing. But I think before the deal go down, there's going to be some cussing out, some fighting, and some other things that's going on. What do I need from you all as citizens? Get engaged. Contact your representative. I don't care if your representative is a R or a D. We don't need to be redistricting now. What we need to be focusing on is what has happened in Kerrville. We need to be focusing on helping those families get back on track and rebuilding that area. We need to be focusing on that. We need to be focusing on making sure these tariffs do not impact groceries, gas, and on and on and on, the things that we purchase. So there's those kitchen table items that we need to be focusing on, not trying to separate our communities through redistricting and creating and letting elected officials select their voters rather than voters select their elected officials. And that's a problem. And so instead of me just running my mouth, I want to be able to say this and then answer any questions. Also coming up for this November's election, there are 14 constitutional amendments. 14, and that was going to be my focus today, but I think it's too much to go into depth with that. If you're on this call, we're going to send you out an email of what those 14 propositions, constitutional amendments that you'll be voting on, so that come November, you're well educated and you can take your position on those propositions. I want to open it up for questioning as it relates to redistricting and or the propositions, or any other concerns that one may have politically. Dexter? Dexter
Morning,
Shelley.
Representative. Yeah, good morning, and thank you for opening this up, because I want to ask a question about that redistricting. And I want to first of all say, in reference to the fight, take the gloves off. Because the people you're fighting against, they don't play fair. There is no integrity in them. And I want to just encourage the team that you're having out there. Control the narrative. Get out there in front of them. And I'm available through our political action ministry to do whatever it takes to support and help get the word out. I think we got to get out there early, get out there strong, and amongst the other things you mentioned, but we got to take the gloves off and control the narrative. Those are two things I want to just ask in support.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else have any suggestions and or questions?
Representative, this is Analicia Romero with San Antonio ISD. Good morning, and thank you so much for the invitation to join you and listen to these updates. I do have questions about a couple of the bills related to public schools. I know that there's a continuation of targeting public schools again. There's a bill up that would prohibit school districts from being able to take out bonds. I believe I saw one. And there was another one that's labeled taxpayer-funded lobbying. Will there be So the taxpayer-funded lobbying issue, for those who may not be aware, a lot of public schools, but different entities like police officers, nurses, teachers, other service groups tend to employ contractors to help them stay up to date with what's happening in the legislature. And some of them are lobbyists, but some of them are not lucrative. That's not like you're the oil and gas lobbyists. And they can help us stay up to date with what's happening in the Texas legislature because things move very quickly in 140 days or in 30 days in a special session. And by law, we're not allowed as employees of a public entity like a school district or a teacher or anyone to go speak to legislators unless we take time off. I get to because I'm government relations, but I can't lobby. I can only learn and inform. So how much traction do you think that bill is going to have, or the one related to bonds?
Well, let's talk about the lobbying. Both sides of the aisle is concerned about not having taxpayer lobbying. So both sides. So it may get some traction, but it's one of the governor's priority items. And so what's going to happen, Annalisa, I think the key to it is the school districts or anybody else are going to have to raise private funds to do any lobbying if that happens. So we don't know how much traction, but it is both sides of the aisle are against that. Okay, because you're limiting a lot of people from, as you say, I won't even call it lobbying. I would say someone who's advocating for your issues, right? And so the whole idea is to suppress that. So we've got to be smart and say, if we can't do the money we have in our till to make that happen, we've got to raise private funds. But we're hopeful that we can kill that bill. That's our hope, okay? As it relates to bonds, there's been so many caps put on what people can do and cannot do. But I think this, with the federal dismantling the Department of Ed, we don't even know what our title funds will look like. Will they come in the form of a block grant? No one knows any of that. I don't believe schools not being able to pass bonds will have any traction, for the mere fact schools have got to have an avenue or a way to be able to raise money to do deferred maintenance on buildings, to be able to get technology, all of those things. So I think both of those are in trouble. But again, if the governor is hell-bent on making it happen, as you've seen up in DC, these House and Senate reps, whether they agree with it or not, they're going along with it. And that's why I'm saying, as a citizen, we need to mobilize the people. We need to let our representatives know we're not supportive of that. And I don't care if your rep is a R or a D or an I, independent. We need to let them know where we stand. Flood the zone with no, 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 and hell no. That's what we have to do, okay? Mr. Cooper and then Elder Bryan. Mr. Cooper?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to offer and invite to ask the question with consideration to town hall meetings and webinars where we can communicate with others that are not on this call. You often say, knowledge is power. Well, if we're not out there communicating, collaborating, and coordinating, we kind of just spinning our wheels in the mud. So I would offer as a recommendation, maybe some upcoming town hall meetings, webinar format where we can get to the masses and what have you. You often talk about power. Well, I can say there's power in numbers. So the other thing that I'm looking at and seeing, and we've already started some deliberations concerning how we can help. As a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, we often have Omega Day or Omega Days at the state capitol. It sounds like we kind of need to have Omega Weeks at the state capitol, and I will invite the opportunity for other Greek letter organizations to join, and we just need to know what we can do when we need to show up to do what is needed as we build that strategy that you're talking about. So I'll just end with this. I think we all should fit in when we can, as often as we can, and we just need to stay the course. And I yield.
And I agree, and I thank you so much for that. And we are working on what we call our ally groups. So we will be reaching out to the Divine Nine. We're reaching out to our pastors. We're reaching out to our NAACP and other civic organizations that are engaged. We're working on that strategy now. I've got a meeting tomorrow night with about 30 organizations that I'm engaging across the state of Texas. So it's not just a San Antonio issue, Dallas, or Houston. It's an American issue that we have got to deal with. And so we're asking everybody to sacrifice time, money, resources, whatever they can do to be able to help fight against what's in front of us. So I'm with you and thank you for that offering, but we will be in touch with you and the Divine Nine groups to be engaged at a very high level. Thank you for that. Elder Brian?
Since you're being called back to Austin for a special session, my question is, can we have a special session of the Power Breakfast to talk about these propositions? Because even when we read them, we don't all read them the same. So we need to at least have some discussion, and I think that we need to do that so that we are empowered to have real conversations with people in the community. And so maybe we start with this group and we have a special session where we can understand fully the propositions, because there's always one line, one comma, or uh, a shall instead of a should, and we miss it. So I think that it's important for us to have another session where we have time before a month from now.
I agree. And so we will do that because I think you've got to be educated on what's going on these propositions. When we're talking about 14 propositions, that's hard to read standing up at the ballot box. Okay. So we want you to be well informed before then. So yes, I'm going to take that challenge and we will have some calls where we will speak specifically about the constitutional amendments so that folks will know what they're voting for and not guessing, and that you can educate the other folks. As we reach out to our civic groups, our faith-based groups, our nonprofits, our HOAs, the Divine Nine, we want to be able to educate all of those groups. So for me, this is our time to mobilize at the highest level, okay, about the what's going on and making sure everybody has accurate information. So we want a well-informed electorate coming up these next elections. So I agree with you on that. Any other questions or any other announcements?
Representative, I
Go
just
ahead.
put in the chat just a really quick plug for Chair Buckley's bill on STAR testing that he passed out of the House last session. It seemed really solid to get a norm reference test and assessing students throughout the year instead of just at the end when it's too late, to help students catch up. And getting the 24-hour rapid results to parents, students, and parents, students, and teachers makes a lot of sense. So we're hoping we get to see that come back.
What me an email so that we can do a follow-up. I want all my educators to give me some firepower. So when I'm at the back mic, we can make sure that your voices are heard on that.
All right, thank you.
I agree with you. We don't need a one-day test to say that's that kid's knowledge base. Having that year-round so we can catch them at those different things, because different days on a one day, you may have a bad day that day and not be able to do your best. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. So let's make sure you send me an email on those things that you would like to see happen, okay?
Representative, I just plugged in my email to the chat for anybody that needs to send anything to us so we can get it to you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I see two quick hands and that'll end today's session. Dexter and then Mr. Cooper. Go ahead, Dexter.
Elder Cooper, this is Dexter Sadler of a Kappa Alpha Psi San Antonio Alumni Chapter. I just sent you a personal chat. If you reach out to me, definitely we can communicate, collaborate, and coordinate regarding the Divine Nine on what you spoke about. I look forward to hearing back from you.
Sounds good. Mr. Cooper?
Yes, ma'am. I just dropped in the chat box an event coming up, back to school. One of the local nonprofits is offering it. This is coming Saturday. All the details are there in the chat box. Please share it with families that might be in need of help. Check the chat box.
Sounds good. I looked at that. I know my girl at the Blessed Angels, Mary over there.
Miss Marion, yes.
Yes, and she gets lots of support. So I think that's a great thing. Ms. D, I can't leave without you saying a few words. Go ahead, D. You got the floor.
Well, then you're gonna be mad because it's Liz. I'm gonna make this quick. Thank you for the opportunity. I know we got a lot of heavy things going on, but I just want to throw it out there that between now and probably the 9th of August, I will be schlepping through for dry goods from anybody that if you find it in your heart to give something, socks, underwear, toothbrushes, toothpaste, to these folks that'll be going back in to school, up the back way. I'd like to go and take a little caravan to Sisterdale, because Sisterdale was the least of the areas that were affected that actually got the trickle down help other than the recovery. Not that that's bad. It's just that they're going to be lacking. So we've already started collecting. Ariel, I begged her to use your name, representative. So we need your help on a push on that. And I'll be in touch. If you
Where
need
do they
anything, go ahead.
for the goods to?
I'm sorry?
Where do they deliver the donations to?
Well, chances are we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do a recon ahead of time. I'm gonna go up there next week sometime.
To you.
Where do we deliver it? Oh, your office can take a donation site. My house can take a donation site. I will drive to it to get it. We've got a week and a half. I don't want to go right now. They've got caravans going. I want to go when things have settled down and they think we're not coming back.
So,
right.
in reference to that, just to let everyone know, we do have a flyer in reference to setting up a donation that
super.
representative has approved for us, and we have confirmed Kirby City Hall as a drop location and Windcrest as a drop location. So that flyer
Super.
will be coming out to everyone after this meeting sometime today. So that way you have that information to assist with that that cause.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Ariel.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Representative. Appreciate you.
All righty.
And all of you good folks too.
Righty. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. See you next time. Let's stay in touch so we can get up to date on constitutional amendments, as well as the redistricting. Thank you for participating. Bye.
Bye.